Zara was already rehearsing her smile before she even got out of the Uber. She checked her reflection in her phone camera, pressed her lips together, and told herself what she told herself every time: "You are fine, you look good, you are not doing this today." Then she stepped out, smoothed her dress, and walked straight into the noise of her younger sister's wedding reception. The hall was packed and loud, smelling of jollof rice and expensive perfume, and for exactly 4 minutes, everything was fine. Zara found a seat, crossed her legs, accepted a plate, and allowed herself to believe she might actually survive the afternoon. Then Aunt Busy sat down beside her. "Zara." The woman said her name like it was a diagnosis. She settled into the chair, arranged her galley, and looked Zara up and down with the kind of expression reserved for things that were almost right but not quite. "So you're just sitting here eating rice?" Zara kept her smile. "Good afternoon, Auntie. Your younger sister is on that stage." Aunt Busy pointed, as if Zara hadn't noticed the woman in white at the front of the room. "She is younger than you. You know that, ABI. And she is already somebody's wife." "I'm aware. Your mates are on their second children, Zara." "Second. And you're here with a fork." Zara put the fork down. Slowly. "Auntie, with respect." "Don't respect me. I'm telling you the truth." Aunt Busy leaned in, lowering her voice just enough to feel intimate and devastating at the same time. "You're a beautiful girl. Fine job, fine car, all of that. But what is fine car without a husband? You want to be driving yourself to your grave." The table had gone quiet. 2 cousins pretended to check their phones. An uncle suddenly found the ceiling very interesting. Zara looked at Aunt Busy. Looked at her properly. And then, very calmly, she said, "Auntie Busy, you have been married 3 times." Silence. "3 times, Zara continued, pleasantly. "And divorced twice. So with the greatest respect, I'm not sure this table is the right place for you to be distributing marriage advice." Aunt Busy's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Zara picked up her fork, took a clean bite of rice, and smiled. Her mother was already on the phone when Zara walked through the front door that evening. She could tell from the doorway, the way Mama Zara was pacing, the way she held the phone with both hands, the way she said she just entered now, and immediately pivoted to face her daughter with an expression of profound suffering. "Zara. Mommy. Busy called me. I assumed. She said you insulted her in front of everybody." Mama Zara pressed her hand to her chest. "In front of the whole table, Zara. An elder woman. She insulted me first." She was talking out of concern. "She has been married 3 times, Mommy." Zara dropped her bag on the chair. 3 times. She can keep her concern. That is not the point. Her mother's voice cracked with the specific frequency of a woman who had been worrying for years and was now cashing it all in at once. "The point is that you are 31 years old and you are not married and people are talking. Let them talk. Zara. Let them talk." She said it quietly, which was somehow worse. "I have a job. I have a car. I pay my bills. I am not missing anything." Mama Zara stared at her. Then, with the energy of someone who had just made a major decision, she sat down on the floor. Not on a chair. On the floor. "Mommy, stand up." "I will not stand up. The floor is cold." "Then give me a husband for my daughter and I will stand." Zara stared at her mother sitting on the floor in her good wrapper and made a quiet, firm decision. I'm moving out. The first landlord asked where her husband was before she finished introducing herself. The second one told her to come back with a male guarantor. The third one looked at her salary slip, a salary that was more than most men in that building earned, and still said, "Madam, you understand, we prefer a man to sign." She called Temi from the street outside the third apartment, standing in the sun, holding a handbag with both hands. "Every single one," she said. "Every single one has asked me for a husband." Temi was quiet for a second. "Okay. I have a solution, but you're not going to like it." "Tell me." "My cousin Biodun. He's free on Saturday. He can come and just..." "No. Zara. I earn 400,000 naira a month, Temi. I need a man to come and sign for me like I'm a child." I know. I went through the same thing, I'm not happy about it either." A pause. "But do you want the apartment or not?" Zara closed her eyes. "Open them. Tell Biodun to wear something smart." Biodun showed up in a blazer that was slightly too big and shook the landlord's hand with enormous confidence. He said, "Yes sir, and of course sir, and she is a very responsible woman, I can assure you," while Zara stood beside him and smiled so hard her face hurt. The landlord handed over the keys, congratulated Biodun on his fine wife, and said he hoped they would have a son soon. Zara took the keys, thanked him, walked to the car, sat down, and stared at the windshield for a long moment without saying anything. Biodun got in beside her, loosened his blazer, and said, "For what it's worth, you did great." She laughed. It wasn't a happy laugh, but it was something. She was still unpacking boxes that evening when her phone rang. Lola. Still in her honeymoon hotel, 3 days married, voice already different, quieter, careful, like someone choosing words around broken glass. "Lola. What happened?" "Nothing. I just, a breath. Emeka said I can't start the business." Zara stopped moving. "What?" "He said it's not necessary. That he provides everything. That if I need money I should ask him." Lola's voice dropped further. "He called me a liability, Zara. For asking about housekeeping money. He said I'm a liability." The room was very quiet. "Do you remember," Zara said carefully, "what I told you before the wedding?" A long pause. "You said to make sure I had something of my own first. And you said..." "I said you were jealous." Lola's voice broke on the last word. "I thought you were jealous. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, I didn't." "Hey?" Zara sat down on the floor among her boxes. "Stop. Don't apologize to me. How much do you need?" "Zara." "Lola. How much?" Monday morning arrived with the particular cruelty of fluorescent office lighting and Chidi already talking. "Zara." He spun his chair around as she walked past his desk, grinning with the energy of someone who had never once been asked when he was getting married. "You dey rush go house cook for your man." She didn't stop walking. "I don't have a man, Chidi." "Exactly my point." He spread his hands like a prophet. "That's the problem. You're too focused on work. Too serious. Men like a woman who is soft, you know. Approachable." She stopped. Turned around. Looked at him with the full weight of her attention. "Chidi. Do you know what I did this morning before I came to this office?" He blinked. "What?" "I closed a deal worth 2 million naira." She held his gaze. So if it's all the same to you, I'll stay focused. She turned back around and walked to her desk. Behind her, she heard Chidi mutter something to the man beside him, something about women who didn't know how to receive advice, something about how that was exactly the problem. She put on her headphones. It was outside the bus stop on her way to lunch that a conductor shortchanged her 40 naira and acted like she had imagined it. Oga, my change. Madam, no change. You have change. I watched you give change to the man in front of me. Give me my 40 naira. The conductor kissed his teeth. A man standing nearby shook his head slowly, the way men did when they felt a woman was being embarrassing. See how she's shouting, the man said to nobody in particular. This is why men don't marry this kind of woman. Too much mouth. Zara turned and looked at him. Did you pay my transport fare? He blinked. What? Did you pay my transport fare? Because if you didn't, I'm not sure what my change has to do with you. She collected her 40 naira from the suddenly cooperative conductor and walked away, chin up, shoulders back, heels loud on the pavement. But she felt it. The comment sat in her chest like a small stone, the way those things always did, no matter how many times she told herself they didn't. Temi had described Connor as settled, employed, and emotionally available, which in Lagos meant he had an apartment and didn't shout. He was pleasant enough at the start, pulled out her chair, asked about her work, laughed at the right moments. Zara allowed herself to relax by degrees. Then, around the main course, something shifted. So do you cook? Connor asked, tilting his head with the practiced casualness of a man who had decided this was a reasonable first date question. Sometimes, Zara said. I also have a cook who comes twice a week. His smile flickered. A cook. It's more efficient. Frees up time for work. Right. He nodded slowly. But I mean, for your husband. You would cook yourself, not outsource that. I'd probably keep the cook, yes. The smile went fully flat. See, that's the thing. I feel like some women these days, they've outsourced everything. Cooking, cleaning, childcare. And then they wonder why the home doesn't feel like a home. Zara set down her glass. Are you saying my home doesn't feel like a home because I have a cook? I'm saying a man wants to come back to something. A woman who has built something with her hands. Not a woman who has paid someone else to do it. I built a career with my hands, she said, very evenly. Does that count? Connor leaned back, warming to his subject now. Okay, here's the thing. And I say this with respect, at what point does the career stop? Because you're 31. The clock is. If you say the word clock, Connor, I will get up from this table. He raised both hands. I'm just being honest. I'm successful, I can take care of you completely. You wouldn't need to work. I'd give you an allowance, you'd manage the home. We'd build something real. An allowance. She repeated the word the way you repeat something you want to make sure you heard correctly. A generous one. Connor. She picked up her bag. I have been working since I was 22 years old. I have built something real, it is mine, and I will not be trading it for an allowance from a man I met 40 minutes ago. She stood up. I wish you well. Genuinely. She pushed in her chair neatly and walked toward the exit. Behind her, loud enough for the next table to hear, he said it. This is exactly why you're not married. She pushed open the door and stepped into the evening air. She didn't turn around. She sat on the floor of her apartment that night. No performance. No armor. Just Zara and her half-unpacked boxes and a container of fried rice going cold beside her. The walls were bare. The space was hers. And for the first time all day, nobody was asking anything of her. Her phone buzzed. Lola, the voice note, laughing about something her hotel's room service had done, just sharing a small and silly thing, just checking in. Then her mother called. Zara stared at the screen. Let it ring twice. Then picked up. Zara. Her mother's voice was different, softer, stripped of its earlier urgency. You've eaten. She blinked. Yes, Mommy. The new place, the water pressure is okay. Sometimes these new buildings. It's fine. Everything is fine. A pause. Warm and long and full of something neither of them said out loud. Okay. Sleep well. You too, Mommy. She hung up and sat for a moment in the quiet. Then she looked around her apartment, her name on the lease, her salary on the walls, her whole life exactly where she had placed it, and she smiled. Not the tight, polished smile from the wedding. Not the controlled smile from the office or the date or the bus stop. A real one. They keep asking when my own is coming, she thought. I keep trying to tell them I'm already here. If this story held you till the end, you already know someone who needs to see it. Share it, drop a comment, and subscribe so you never miss the next one.